restream thing to change it, the meta, I don't think that's a good idea. Just saying. Yeah. Okay. Back to it. So there's a lot of shit on the screen, right? Yeah. Where to start with the game balance? Well, the most sensible place to start will be the calculations for, well, the balancing of resources. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that does count. Yeah. You would be first, yeah, on YouTube. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into some of this. This is going to be tough. Okay. So one of the things, let's go to, hold on, talk amongst yourselves. Let's go to the main menu. Let's find it over here. It doesn't get invoked there, does it? I gotta figure out where I can do this. MISC. Oh yeah, because hold on, did I make it? Shoot, I did. Okay, we're gonna have to do this a pain in the butt way. I have a UI in a tool in Unity for editing these numbers, but it's not going to work for me now because I actually instantiate this at runtime, not as a object that I can just select. Right? What I mean by that is, let me make sure I got this right. Hang on. Scripts. Yeah, actually, Peter, you didn't mean to double click that, did you? Yeah, I can't really edit it in here like I used to. Oh, that's not the way to go. So let's figure this out, right? This, oh God, math's gonna be fun on this. All right. Currently, you need 10 newbies to get a script kitty. Actually, we you know what? Let's try it this way. We can do this in the game. It just won't save it, which is a pain, but this will let us play with it. I'll show you. Okay. Yeah, Adam, I'll put a nickel in the jar for you, buddy. I know. Okay, don't destroy our load. Here we go. So this is what I'm talking about. I got the player data over here. Let me reset some of this back. Well, actually, no. Let's leave that alone. No, we'll do this the math way because otherwise I got to translate it afterwards. Okay. So the math is way off on this. When we're going to start by trying to fix the initial problem here, which is going to be, we're going to raise these values, which is how many you need of the previous thing to get the new one. And then we will adjust the hacking power reward. And then this should help us balance that deficit. So, hey, let me get a pen and paper. All right. I do have this documented in my game document, but since I'm going to be scribbling a whole bunch of numbers and screwing them up here. I don't want to put this in the game document and have it be completely wrong. So for script kiddies, I need 10 newbies. And that, look, actually, let's put them all down. Okay, so for pro, I need 20 and then 30. I think you see where this is going, actually, right? 40, 50, and so on. These are horrible numbers. So we got the master, we got the desktop, laptop, servers, mobile devices, level 1, level 2, root, and a dark web node. Okay, now let's go to how much they cost, which I've got to find. Hang on. It's been a minute since I thought about this, but they exist somewhere. I thought I had them as a JSON file. Maybe not. Yeah, this is just where I reset things. Lots of convenience functions. Okay. That's not this, right? No. I thought I had an enum in here. Resource multipliers. Here we go. Okay. This is where we did the conversion over to the big N, right? And then we got dark web multipliers using fixed point scaling. All right, I'm going to grab me some more coffee here. I'll be right back. And yeah, the worst numbers. Okay, I'm back. All right, so right now, let's see. We're gonna mess with some of these numbers. I can definitely see why it scales weird. It costs 200 newbies to get a professional, and that professional makes a 3 times multiplier. Terrible return on investment. Exactly. Exactly what we're looking to fix up here. You're not wrong. These were numbers that was like, okay, I can follow these numbers in real time as I'm developing this and making sure the calculations are correct. Well, we've solved that problem. Now we need to solve the problem of making them better. So, exactly, it does get worse. It's the exact opposite of what it should be. So, chat room, you can feel free to shout some numbers here. We're going to just work some numbers and see how this goes. Because it's been so long since I messed with this. So if it's 10 newbies, 10 newbies should be the equivalent, sorry, one script kiddie should give me the return equivalent of 10 newbies. We agree on this? But basically, can I just 10x these numbers to start with? I guess is what we're saying. Well, not every time, right? But this one, for example, if I set this to 10 and let's do this, save that, right? I'm going to go back over here and I have some tools here to blow away my own game data. All right. And I also need to blow away my cloud save. So hang on. I'm going to sacrifice my own account for this. I know, right? So in case you're curious, which you're probably not, but one of these is me. Yeah, so if I delete that data, the player still exists, but I have no cloud save. And I've just reset my local cached data is the theory. Stress theory, right? So let's log in. Now the good news is, because of the way this works in the game client, this will happen for everybody when I force you to update the version. As long as we all believe that. That's the theory. Okay. So let's try this, right? Keep an eye on the hacking power here. So feels right. Okay. You're not losing any. Maybe I still think you should lose a fraction, but this is now, would you agree? That's really how this is supposed to go, right? Thank you. Okay, good. So again, I don't expect to get this right second time, but we'll keep going with it. So I need 20 of the math here should follow a pretty basic formula, at least for right now. 20 professional, 20 script kiddies for one professional, right? So this is interestingly where this whole thing goes back to how these numbers get so large. So 20 script kiddies to put up the Christmas tree. Oh yeah, I'm doing the Christmas tree later. Yeah. Adam can have the last redeem. All right, have fun, Coco Type. Hey, I'm sure the cats are going to appreciate the Christmas tree, right? Oz would always just dive under that tree as soon as it was there. It's like it was his realm, you know. Have fun, buddy. Okay, so let's see how we're going to work this. Professionals, we need 20 of those. We need 20 script kiddies for one professional. So 20. Yeah, see, these are going to scale up fast, right? Let's play with some numbers. I want to see. I want there to be the incentive for you to upgrade, right? Because that's the whole point here. A little scratch post at the bottom to distract from the rest of the tree. Nice. That's smart thinking right there. Okay, so let's get to let's work through this, right? And I am entertaining the idea that Wow, that was another long 3 minutes. Classy time indeed. All right. I'm going to let this tick here for a little bit while I work out the other numbers. Thank heavens for calculators, right? Okay, while that's ticking away in the background, let's keep a track of what we're doing here. So hackers, we've rescaled machines on networks. All right. And what we're going to do is, once I've figured out the calculation, or a reasonable calculation, will then reflect upon the overall scaling. Because as you can see, your power goes up pretty quickly, quicker than I would like. So we will then work that out. So we'll see. But yeah. I got to get to 10. I know 10 dark web coin is going to activate my upgrades here. So yeah. I could actually do this, right? The bosses are going to be way out of whack right this second. But for what I'm doing here for this testing purpose, that's really going to help me quite a lot. And I thought I fixed it. That didn't show. Okay, maybe I didn't check in the commit. I bet I didn't check it on my other machine. Thank heavens for the higher max button. I'm so glad I got that fixed, because this would be a nightmare to do otherwise. All right, you know what? We're going to do this too. We need some dark web coin here. I gotta raise the rates. Thank you. Interesting. I think there's some problems clicking on that button. Probably doesn't happen when you touch it, but it will with the mouse. Okay, so let's keep going here. It also means by these ratios, when you lose these hackers, when you gain and lose resources, it really matters now, right? Okay, let's look at my numbers here. Let this run here for a minute. Let's go over here. Hold on. And let's do this. It's been a while. Let's get some background music going here, shall we? Hello, what's this? Ah. Where's my library? What happened to the library of all my tombs? Hold on. Now I'm logged in here, right? I know you can't see what I'm looking at. But where's my library gone? These are not mine. No. What the hell did they do? Let's try, I guess let's just try somebody else's. It should be fine. No. Okay. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out off stream. Too risky to do it on stream. Okay. Let's go back over here. All right, nearly there. If I can get the balance, I'll then scale it back. But keep the balance. That's what makes the gameplay testing is like, so much fun and a nightmare for the developer. The good news is, looks like my bandwidth is holding up. Dare I try to set it back to what it used to be? Hang on, let's have a look. I know, I'm asking a lot, right? 4,000. Let's go to 4,000 kbps. It used to be higher than that, but we'll risk it. We'll start scaling it up. Can't decide whether I need to make those numbers bigger for what the cost is on there. Probably do. I am satisfied with the size of the UI on tablets and desktops. I'm not satisfied with the size of the UI on phones though. I feel like some of the areas are too small to be tapped on. And it looks bloody good on the Steam Deck too. I don't own one, but I've seen it on a Steam Deck. Feel free to ask questions in the chat room, by the way. If you have any questions about building this kind of game or anything like that, or why the hell am I doing this? Because I don't know. Because I want it to exist. I wanted it to exist, and I love this kind of game. So Yeah, I feel like this number here should be more obvious, right? What I'm doing, by the way, there is I'm buying an extra upgrade here every time, an extra tick. So I'm getting 9 per game tick now, as opposed to the 1 that you start with, right? Okay, I feel like this is probably going good. So let's keep going here. I'm going to add these numbers while I'm doing it, while it's calculating the other one. Yeah, see, these numbers get big real fast. Yeah, well, yeah, ooh, that's big. Okay, let's leave it there for now. Put the console somewhere more interesting for us all, shall we? Oops. I love that I can do that, but that's not what I wanted to do. I'm using Console Pro, by the way, here for all this extra stuff, just in case you wanted. I think I reset something by accident. Hang on. There we go. And of course, now I see the bandwidth dropping. Let's reach a happy medium here. Let's take this. Let's split the difference. 3500 kbps. One of the other options that I thought about was capping how many you could have of each of these, but I don't know, it feels like I'm imposing a rule that I shouldn't, I guess. I mean, if you wanted to just keep them as newbies forever, that's up to you, right? I want you to have as free a way of playing this game as you want, but at the same time, that makes it difficult to balance some of these numbers. But maybe I just got to go with it and see what happens. Yeah, reclaim those charts. Totally off. Another option, I guess, an interesting option is, what if I don't give you any hacking power from having newbies? And it doesn't start until you get to script kiddies, which forces you to at least do a level 1 upgrade. Interesting. That, since these are supposed to be your base level generator anyway, that's an interesting thought. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, good. Good. That is holding fast. That is how this is supposed to work. All right. Although I just did I just lose them? No, we're good. Okay, that would suck. It's when your own game decides to play against you, right? Okay, I'm satisfied. This is calculating how I think it should. So let's keep doing this. Okay, let's punch all these numbers in, and then we'll move on to the next set. Oof. Oh my god. Don't worry, we are absolutely scaling these back. And Dark Web Coin is an entirely different beast. So the good news is that I planned that right in that they are separate. That's my story anyway. And I got other resource sources I haven't even added into the game yet. Ooh, that's a big number. That's a really big number. Ah. Okay. Hang on. Whoops. That's not what I meant to do. Maybe let's keep it here for a second. All right. So we are up to here. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. Now, while I'm thinking about this, Actually, I wanted to. Go to the definition, please. No. Yeah, declaration usages. I missed it. Oh. That is not usage. Okay. Thank you. That's what I want. Actually, that's not what I want. Nice try, Peter. Wow. Okay. That is the one I want. Because what I'm wondering is, this is probably going to break something, but let's try it. I could just take that number there, right? Let's just say. But I think it's going to cause me problems, and we'll see. I think it's going to cause me problems when I first start the game. So yeah, let's start over. Clear all the game data, but I need to clear the cloud out, so let me go to that. Okay, now let's run it. Ooh, so not me. So my hacking power is going to be set to 0 for a while because I'm essentially taking, yeah, see, that's what I thought. Okay, let's, I was lucky and unlucky in that I got those. I didn't want them yet. Really didn't want those, but thank you. The luck is not what I want right now. Any other time I'd be happy. Let me think. I want to see if that's going to affect it at all. I'm not even sure that I got the right thing here. My theory is good, but okay, please, I don't want to be so lucky this time. And of course, immediately I get one root network access. Any other time it would suck. All right. See where this all goes wrong. All right. I got to get to a certain, yeah, see? Get to a certain point and then I get that. But I didn't want a bloody mobile guy. Stop making me so lucky. I want to see what the newbie hacker's number gets to before the hacking power goes up. I may have to disable the random events to make so that I can actually accurately track these numbers. Oh, the irony. And of course, I'm going to be losing the bloody hackers every time now, because now my luck's going to go in the other direction. See, it went to 40 because I got the laptops, I'm sure of it. Okay, I don't want any luck of any kind. Oh, the fun of game testing, I tell you. So you see how it all gets interconnected, right? With now you're not going to immediately leap to the boss levels, but let's see what happens. Good. I don't want it to reset down again, which is looks like we've nailed that by doing some of this balancing. And now what I'll have to do is stretch up the required hacking power for the bosses. But this is sort of going the way I wanted it to. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about this. See, a minor change because I lost the laptop. Okay. And now I'm down the bottom of the charts again. Okay, this feels better. Good. Big leap there because of the mobile device, which is actually one that we did fix. But that's fine. It gives you an incentive to understand the importance of these higher levels. And then what I'll do is rework the randomness of the random events to better balance in with these new numbers, because I made it so that it's in your favor, that you get more good events than bad events. And now I can sort of scale those a bit better. Not by much. It was not like it's an out and out win every time, but you know, gotta make it so that you can I want it to be to your advantage, but not to a massive advantage, right? I don't want a player to be constantly like, oh my god, I'm always losing resources. I need 15 coins for this to reactivate here. This has actually worked out to be, I don't want to say easier, a little more, the pattern to it is better than I had anticipated. And as far as figuring out what to balance and where, so this is good. All right. Okay, I feel like you are still climbing a bit too quickly, but this is... Let's put a little note here. Yeah, okay. I feel like I could potentially raise some of these a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna crank these up, just each of these, just by a small fraction. Give you a little bit better progression on accumulation of dark web coin. I think now that we have raised those other numbers, we should help you out a little bit here. No, doesn't need much, but just a little bit. There we go. Okay. I'm curious if I tweak this, if I tweak some more of these numbers here, I'm curious. I don't think it'll be a detrimental effect, but it's that balance, right? With any of these games where you have this kind of progression, you got to find that balance that it feels satisfying to the player that they are progressing, but you don't want it to be so fast that they like blow through everything in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And I feel like we're getting closer to something reasonable here. And then, yeah, okay, so let's now go into our main game. We're going to go to, yeah, tick interval right now is really quick for testing purposes, right? We're going to now change this back to let's do a minute and a half and just try that and see how that feels. I think it should feel a little more realistic here. And that doesn't mean you will get one every minute and a half. It just means the mechanism for these randomness will change, will fire every minute and a half, but there's still another random number in there that says if there's even going to be an event. And then there's another one that says, okay, well, is it a positive or negative, right? And it's tough. It is really tough for me when I'm doing this and game testing and deving it like this. Well, deving more than game testing because I want to see these things quickly to check the logic, right? But then when you crank it to what it should be for the game player and dev testing, everything suddenly feels slower, right? And sometimes that can feel like a drag, you know, to you as the developer. But it does save the game data every 60 seconds. So, you know, you're going to see that on there, but that's good. But then I don't want it to be so long that the player's left wondering, well, what's the deal? What's going on over here, right? Hopefully that makes sense. See, I don't know if that this early on, I wonder, does that dark web coin tick rate feel too high? I say that, but I mean, like, you got 53 mobile, right? You've already got 2 root access up here because you're randomly lucky. Yeah. I don't think I want to scale it back yet because I really want you to use that dark web coin to get your upgrades and some other tools that I've not yet built into the game that you will use. Like for example, not only would you use dark web coins for the purchases here, but there's going to be some other factors, some other benefits and features that you will use dark web coins to make trades, purchases, things like components to build things and all this kind of stuff. Wow, you got that tree up fast, dude. Wow, I'm impressed. Oh wait, trees up but not decorated? Is that where it's at? Has it really been an hour? Have I been talking nonsense crap for an hour? It's going good. I've tweaked some other levels here. I've tweaked the overall generation count. Exactly. Hacking power has been tweaked. I've now tweaked back the random events to a minute and a half in between each one as opposed to every second for dev testing. Do you do play tests at all? Sorry for barging in. You are not barging in. Do you mean, do I open it up for playtesting for other folks? Is that the question? You are not barging in. Please, the chat room is there for you all to take part in this and ask any questions. Feel free. It saves you hearing me babbling on for a while about nothing. But Clown1337, if you are asking for other people about playtesting this, I am just starting to open it up. Yeah, Cocotype's the only one I accuse of barging in. Other than that, it has been my own playtesting for the most part up to this point, which is where some of the problems have been. But if you are interested in becoming a playtester on this, let me put this in the chat here. I'm at a game jam. I'm also a game dev and looking for feedback. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm happy to game test as well. We have a Discord here. Did it show up in the thing? Yeah. We have a game development channel over there. I would love to game test for folks just as much as I would love folks to game test for me, because I feel like when I'm playing other people's games and providing feedback and that, I learn so much. So I would love to. Yeah. You try to embody your inner Miley Cyrus and come in like a wrecking ball. Yeah, he does that. Cocotype's like that. But yeah, if you want, you don't have to join the Discord, but that is certainly where a lot of this conversation and stuff takes place. We do have a game dev channel over there. I would love for you to take part in that. And if you want game testing, believe me, we got some folks that love to give opinions on things. Cocotype might be one of them. Yeah. You're watching on YouTube? Okay. Yeah, did the link to the Discord, I don't know if the link to the Discord shows up on YouTube, I'll be honest. Hang on. Cocotype knows the super clever shortcut for our Discord. Let me see here. Hold on 1 second. Well, actually, you could do this, right? Hang on, I'll put it in. That will also get you to the same Discord. That's the long link. Yeah. Hopefully you see that one. But yeah, sure, reach out on the Discord, and I would love to help with that, as I'm sure many others would if you want that. Thank you for asking the question. Okay, this is feeling better. Awesome. Thank you. I will take a look at that later. Appreciate that. Welcome to the club. I'd like to issue new builds of this by the end of the weekend. Right now, for the testers, I've done a Linux build, a Mac build that's got some issues, but ultimately I am planning this to be hopefully Mac, Windows, Linux, mobile devices, right? It does work on mobile devices. It looks pretty good on my tablet here. But I'd love for this to be on all the devices, which is the whole point in part of the cloud sync. Yeah. What do you build? What are you building? Looks like an auto clicker type. It is without the auto click. Yes, that is as good a definition as any, right? It is very much in the spirit of an idle type game, right? Those kind of things. There is no auto clicking here, but I will be adding background calculations for when you're not playing the game, and things like that. I've not. This is actually version 2 of this game. Version 1, which was a couple of years ago, did have the background calculations. You know, you haven't played for X amount of time. Here's what you generated while you're not playing. I absolutely plan to have that same feature in here. I just have not added it yet, while I wanted to address my core concerns from the first version, of which most of them are done now. I've got to the game balancing here for this, and then I'll add extra features, and then we will add what I call the true heart of the game, which was always to have a multiplayer aspect where you can, in some fashion, hack each other, right? Hence the inclusion of a leaderboard here, and those kind of things. So yeah, that's what this is. But it's not. It doesn't have an auto clicker. I'll say yet, because I haven't ruled it out. But I've introduced this idea. Let me show you here. There are going to be random events. Well, I say random. They're going to be events in the game. So things like, you're a hacker, right? So once a week there would be like a hacker convention, which I can will happen at a certain day and time and exist for a little while. Thank you. Glad you like the graphics. I appreciate that. I have kicked around a lot of different ideas on the look for this. Multiplayer. Let me talk about that for a second. When years ago, I know it's weird to say years ago, when I was discussing the original concept and the idea for this game that I wanted to exist and it didn't, so I'm building it, the first thing we said was it would be awesome to hack each other because these kind of games don't normally have that. And that's why I figured, you know what, that might be the key thing here that differentiates this from so many other games. And so that has been a massive driving factor. It's incredibly hard to figure out, though, in the sense of, well, there's complications, right? You got to make sure there's no bullying. There's no, nothing where like, oh, you're all going to keep continually attacking me and that kind of thing. So I've been working on it for a long time, but I've not actually activated it in the game yet. But this leaderboard here is the first dip into the world of, oh, there are other players, all right, on that. So yeah, there you go. But there are things, like I say, like once a week there'll be an automatically triggered hacker convention, maybe once a month, special events, things like that. And I'm actually going to trigger one now manually to show you. So this would come up on a certain day and time, and you're going to have a certain amount of time, right, that it's available, and then it's gone. If you ignore it, you're not going to get bothered until, in this case, the next time it comes around. However, the idea here was to open the scope up beyond this kind of gameplay, in that I'm going to join this one. So this is a little game here. It's a game within the game. You can tap all of the ones to complete the hack. If you tap more than 10 zeros, you fouled the hack, right? You got 60 seconds. So, right, you get it, right? Look, there's 3 bad ones, right? So I got 60 seconds, and I have only just implemented this. So this is like the first take on how this might actually work, right? But if I do it successfully, I've now multiplied my resource multiplier by 1.2, right? So if I had 100 hackers, newbie hackers, I've now got 120. And so I wanted there to be other ways that you as a player could. I definitely got something weird here with the leave button. I got to figure out. But I wanted there to be other ways, other things for you to do in this game than just, oh, I got to get resources, right? I have never heard of Hacknet. Tell me more. One that I'm really into playing at the moment is Bitburner. If nobody's ever seen it, it's on. I play it on Steam. Bitburner is fantastic. I love Bitburner. I wish I had made that game. But that's all done with JavaScript. It's very impressive. I'll look into Hacknet. Is it just called Hacknet? Is it the one on Steam? Oh, is it hacknet-os.com? Is this it? Oh, okay. Your description sounds exactly like the kind of thing I want to try. Yeah, I'll take a look at this then. Let me show you. I'll show you this one. Like I say, I've only been playing this one for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I'd never heard of this. This is so cool. Shout out to the Bitburner folks. I think if you like that Hacknet, this might be right up your street based on what it says here. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Thank you. Come on, Bitburner. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay, while that's loading. It's taking a long time because I'm on my Mac here, and I think this is an Intel based game, and I'm on an M chip, but could be wrong. But I'll show you this. This is like, dang it! I wish I made this right. So I'm on like the second tier or whatever they call it here. You have a terminal, right? And it's like a file system on your machine. You can create scripts using, create scripts using JavaScript, and then you hack servers, and you've got your own home machine and all this kind of stuff. And I've got a network of hacked machines here and so on. This is all, by the way, open source on GitHub. But I just got into, I'm in the second, whatever they call it, second node or whatever. And I've got my gang for me here, right? And I've just taken over all the territory because it took a long time to get there. But I got to get my hacking skill up now. Anyway, that's Bitburner. Check it out. It is free. It's fantastic if you love this kind of stuff. You can write, if you know JavaScript, you can write your own scripts to run the game, right? And they've got a fantastic like dive into it here, right? Here, so like I won't get into it here, but you can use JavaScript, and you can use an external editor for the game as well. It is so cool. But I'll look into Hacknet. Not heard of that one. Thank you. I love these kind of games. I've become badly addicted to them. And it has been a driver for me getting back into this. I'll admit. I was suffering fatigue for a while of like, I don't know. But it inspired me to like, no, I think there's good reasons that I should keep doing this game. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with this. All right. Let me stop that there. Hold on. what's going on here. Give me a second. I gotta get back to where I was. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So yeah, Coco Type. You asked where we were at since you left us. We're up to level 1 access. I've got these 3 remaining calculations, but I've reworked these numbers. I have scaled up slightly how much Bitcoin, how much dark web coin you earn on each of them, and slowed down to the proper rate the random events. Also recommend with open heart to try. That one I've seen and I've not played it. And yes, everybody keeps telling me I should play it, and I've seen it, and I've got to play it. So another one I'll recommend. I can't show you on this machine because it doesn't run on Mac. There is one called. Hang on, let me find my Steam here. If you like the more visual approach on things, oh, where did you go? Did I crash Steam? No. Okay. One that I really like is Upload Labs. This is very cool as well. This one has a more visual approach to how you do it. Yeah, everybody says to me that Shenzhen is the best one, and I'm a little bit ashamed that I've never tried it. But this one has a more visual approach to how you build nodes and everything. This is very cool and is a lot of fun as well. Upload Labs. But I am going to try the Shenzhen one. Maybe I'll do that on a stream. That might not be I could do a first play on the stream, right? That's not a bad idea. Yeah. Games are meant to be at least a bit visual. I already write code for a living since forever, so I like. Yeah. I totally get it. I totally get that. As someone that also writes code for a living, yeah, that's why I was like, there's got to be a way to do this without the terminal. But I also like that some of those ones have the terminal. But I think you might like that Upload Labs. If you have ever seen or done or whatever, like Unreal Engine with its blueprints, or Godot or Unity with their visual programming, that's kind of what Upload Labs is. And once you start building them out, it's one of those, you have those kind of idle type games where it's just fun to sit and watch it. That's exactly what that's like. So yeah, the company shut down. Oh wait, hang on. The company shut down, and some of the devs started a new one. And then that company came out with another. Coco Type? You're talking about the Shenzhen folks, Kaizen, that I haven't played yet, but some of my friends love it. Is that what you're talking about, Coco Type? Because I'll totally check all these out. I'm totally crazy about these games now. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, if they did shut, I didn't know that either. Not that I've been following it, but everybody says, "Oh, Shenzhen, yeah." Okay. Not a fire. What's up, buddy? How you doing, my friend? I'll check both. I'll check all of these games out. But yeah, maybe I do a live stream of Shenzhen, and you said they have another one, Kaizen. Maybe I'll do a live stream of those. I will say, Bitburner took me a long time to wrap my head around. Most of which was because I had to remember how to write JavaScript. So yeah, you want to see CD play TIS 100? I've never heard of it. Is it TIS 100? I've never heard of it. Is that on Steam or something too? I will totally try all these games. Yeah. So anyway, that's all those kind of things are my inspiration, the ones I've heard of, and my inspiration for this. and I need to add some more upgrades here. The only thing that scales on here right now is the cost. It really needs to scale what you get in return. And that'll be the next phase. Game balance is definitely my thing here right now. But we have already made great strides on this today. Yeah. Shenzhen's predecessor, and it's a much more brutal. Okay. Because I feel like Bitburner is the most brutal one I've played so far. Read the documentation as a game. Ooh, okay. Is it like doing what is it? The NeoVim documentation that kind of feels like you're using NeoVim to learn NeoVim, right? Yeah. Shenzhen, it's meant to be played with the design doc open. Okay. I actually do have a game design document for this as well. I got a folder full of stuff because it's the only way I can keep track of the logic in a lot of this game. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll check these out. Yeah. Okay. So this is feeling good. Let me go back over here. And I am looking for... Okay, this is one that I did. I don't need to worry about that. I think the other one was in here, right? Yeah, here's my numbers. No. Oh, you know what? I do need to reset these, don't I? Hang on. Let me update this with the latest numbers before I forget. Actually, wait, maybe those numbers are still accurate. Yeah, no, they are still good right now. Yeah. Oh, hold on. I got to catch up on the chat. The player is said to have come across a malfunctioning. Am I pronouncing it right? TIS 100. 1980s, the computer is presented to the player as 12 separate processing nodes laid out in a 4x3 grid. Each node has a single processor registered to store a numerical value as well as a backup register. Okay. I feel like maybe I saw someone play this. Or maybe that description sounds familiar. Nodes also hold their own assembly language program as entered by the user. Okay, so like on that Bitburner, I can write a script and I can copy that script across to each of the servers and then have that run there as well. Sounds kind of like that. Assembly language, simplified version of the real world assembly languages. See, these are a great, like all of these are a great way to learn JavaScript as you're doing it. I don't know if learning JavaScript is great. It's always driven me nuts, but there you go. Accept external input on a numerical value sent from an adjacent node, perform basic math and logic operations, store and back up the current data value, and then send results to an adjacent node to the program's output. I always just said TIS 100. TIS 100. Why was that so hard for me to say? Okay. Why did I struggle to say that? What the hell is wrong with me? Okay. So those are good. Where was the numbers I was working on? It's probably not even in this bloody file after all this, right? Yeah. Oh, I do want to dive in here. So you remember I was saying, I'll talk about this quickly. Remember I was saying about those random events? They're basically some dictionaries, right? And we probably need to retweak all of these now, which will be fine. We'll do that when it feels appropriate. Peter, I also recommend this thing, Hooked on Phonics. Is that a thing? I got my own phonics. Simplified, but still very much there. I wrote some real world assembly for hobby. Oh my word. Found Shenzhen is better because you can really feel the objects come to life. All right, cool. I have never written assembly. I don't know that I could. Feel TIS. It's very abstract. Ooh, okay. You guys are definitely giving me a list of things. This is cool. Thank you. And I can probably embarrass myself on live streams with all of these things, as if I didn't do enough of that already, right? Okay, the file that there it is. I was going to say modified wasn't showing, but here it is. Yeah, so hang on, we were up to here. So it turned out the math was actually pretty easy for this. Take this number, the previous number, and multiply it by the resources. But that just gives me, again, balance of this to this. And I do want to introduce a very slight drop. But I think for the next build, what I'm going to do is just have it, okay, you didn't suffer a penalty. And we'll see how that feels, right? Just data management, it's different. Okay. I wrote 6502 assembly once to try and make an Atari 2600 game. Dang, dude. Got enough to draw a QR code on screen and then gave up on making an actual game. Hey, it's funny how that QR code thing came around again, right? Someone should make a program called like Bark about codes or something, maybe. Or maybe someone could put a link in a chat for an app that does that. Yeah, that's funny. I will say that thanks to all of you in the chat room today and the feedback I got yesterday for the build that I put out has greatly helped, because I was feeling a bit rather deflated about this game, questioning whether I should keep bothering. But now I feel like I should, right? Sounds like a dumb idea. Who would make an app like that works on a phone and on the web and on a watch? And I mean, who the hell would do that? Next thing you know, they'd be ordering Starbucks from their watch, right? Yeah. Okay, so here's what I got to do. I'm going to embarrass myself here. Hang on, calculator. Come on, calculator. Okay, so I need 3, 4, 5. Oh, you know what? Hang on. Let's just do this the easy way. Easier way. Copy and paste for the win. Right? Can I literally do that? Would that work? Dang, it would. Okay, I need to multiply that by, what is this? Level 2. I need to multiply that by 90, but here's the problem. Oh, no, wait. That's not a problem. Can I? Oh. Okay, when I did this on the iPhone calculator, it gave me a scientific value, which is not what I wanted. Wow, interesting that there's a difference, right? Kia catching up. If you got drawing going, you got me beat. My best was the Windows CLI that managed to spit answers to basic maths in the error code, never managed to hook into the actual stream. Vocabulary worked well enough though. Oh, that's interesting. We have on the Discord and a streamer. You should check out Notify, because he's like our overlord of drawing things with code. Let's just put it like that. He's gonna be like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. How dare you? All right, let's multiply this by, what am I doing now? Root. This needs to move. Oh, these numbers are massive, right? Look at this. Thank God I scaled them back. See, and folks, this is why I was saying, like, games like this with big numbers, what a nightmare, right? Okay, dark web nodes, 110. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I've not even finished adding resources to this yet. Okay, that's a hell of a number. Now you have a pretty damn good incentive to get to those higher levels. Let's just put it like that, right? There he is. No, I'm not. How dare you? I'm gonna give him a share, folks. If you are into coding and you are into games, this is the guy. Wait, I did it wrong. Did I do it wrong? I bloody didn't I? Hang on. I think I did it wrong. There you go. Got the shout out. Drawing was pretty easy on the 2600 because there's a dedicated graphics chip, and you're basically just poked memory on that to set the background on the screen. Hey, totally on topic, off topic. I was watching videos the other day. I went down a rabbit hole like we all do, on older machines and things. Fascinated by. Have you all seen? I think actually the one I read was a post about a new version of the Amiga OS. But have you all been keeping up with the whole new Commodore 64 releases and all that stuff? It's kind of exciting, right? Just throwing that tangent in there. Okay, so now, see, look, I'm up to the billions, right? So what I'm going to do here is start again. I want to make sure that this doesn't go more nuts than it already is. Clear all my game data. Drop over to my cloud here. I've lost my cloud. Hang on. Cloud. Unity Cloud. Player data. I always got to make sure I edit me and not somebody else. Otherwise they're going to be like, hey, where the hell did my score go? That's me. There you go. Okay. Now when I play, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. All right. Let's have it tick through a little bit with these numbers. We'll watch the console here. And where did my chat go? That one YouTuber buying the Commodore brand, that's the guy. Yeah. But actually, I thought it was a consortium. The guy went over to the factory, right? And they showed him signing the papers and so on. That guy, yeah. But I think it's a consortium, and because there's been a whole bunch of Commodore 64s, right, that people have done with different kits, but this is like an official one. It's not going to go. I hadn't planned for it to go open source. Thank you. I'm glad it looks far along in development because it feels like a lifetime. This has been an on-off project for years at this point, but let's put it this way. Folks in this chat room are pressuring me to put it on Steam, and yeah, I kind of feel like I want to, but I'm a bit wary that it's like, okay, is it really going to have a player base? However, for the desktop platforms and that, for the mobile platforms, it's pretty easy, right? I have published to the Android store and to the iOS store because that's how I'm a mobile dev by day. So that's old news to me. I can do those, no problem. So it's going to go to Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and Linux. The Windows, Mac, and Linux, I'm tempted, very tempted to go the Steam route because CocoaType had this running nicely on his Steam Deck and it looked pretty awesome. Yeah. But he was pressuring me to build out the Steam Deck. You can put it on itch.io for all I care. I just want to be able to install it on Deck. Yeah. itch.io was the other one that I thought about. I'll be honest. I would, if I could find a way to do something to recover the cost, like the $100 or whatever it is, to put it on Steam, I would do it. I still have that whole, what do they call it? fear that I'd put it on Steam and people would be like, this is shit. Which would be fair, I guess. But maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. If I could find a way to recover the cost, but without making it like a freemium or something, or people being like, oh, look, now he's putting in whatever shit, I would. But in order for me to keep doing this, I do need to find a way to cover the cost of all the bloody plugins I bought for this thing, right? By the way, I have some Unity plugins here, all of these ones, which just are priceless, I will say. And I got them when they were on sale. One of them's on sale right now. One of them, for example, I hold down the Alt key and I can jump between my favorite scenes. Just for the record, the folks in the chat room will tell you, I have built with Unity, I have built with Godot, and released on both to public, and I have built on Unreal Engine, but I've never released anything publicly for that. Let's talk offline. Yeah, we'll talk offline. Wait, are you going to turn up at my house? But anyway, folks, my whole point being is I want to put this as many places as I can, which is the whole dang reason that I made it so that you have to create an account, a login on the Unity Game Services, just a username and password, so that you can go to any device that you have, log in, pull down the cloud save, and just keep playing. That was my goal. All right. So, Clown, hopefully this answers that question for you. For right now, to the select group of like closed testers, I've just been releasing desktop binaries. As CocoaType just alluded to, he took the Linux build that I made yesterday and put it on his Steam Deck, and dang, it was cool. And that kind of thing. So as many places as I can get it is the answer. Or people want to play it. I would love, for example, like, oh, this would have been cool to do on the Nintendo Switch, because I have another game, Endless Hurdles, that I wanted to put on the Switch, and they said no. Bastards. I'm sure it's because I didn't do a good job on selling the idea, but anyway. So that's it. I play, just so you know, I play this game, my version of this game here. I'm playing this on desktop, iPad, and iPhone at the moment. I also play it on my Android tablet for testing. Rumor has it someone plays it on Steam Deck. Wish I had a Steam Deck. Okay, so I feel like this balance is feeling a whole lot better, but I'm noticing that I don't have any hacker power now, which would be accurate for this, but with the script kiddies, I should. The fact that I haven't got any of those makes sense. Once I get script kiddies and professionals, I should be getting hacker power. So I'm going to let this tick here for a minute. Yeah, you had me remember. There's what, 14 games a day now. Yeah, it definitely does answer my question and more. Sorry, I do that. Yeah. It's almost crazy to me that it's more realistic to deploy to mobile than Steam now. When I started game dev, Steam was almost a guaranteed win. Yeah, I actually feel like, so my Endless Hurdles that's been out for a couple of years, it was like, can I make this game? And I did, right? I'll put a link here. There you go. It was super easy to deploy on iOS because, like I say, that's how I earn my living, mobile apps by day. So this was all known territory. But I feel Steam is the place again for mobile games, but not exclusively, of course. So that's why I want to target, like, all three of those to me are the crucial ones. Yeah. Even more, but it's more accessible, so you've got a shot in that market. Yeah, I was just really, I can't say I was disappointed. I met my definition of success for Endless Hurdles, which was 100 installs. I know it sounds like nothing, but I got the 100 installs and some. And it's a very simple game. That was not my first public game, but it was my first game. So I rebuilt that game in every game engine, including starting out in SpriteKit, which people who followed this stream for a while will know about. So that became my, can I build the same game in all the engines, to learn which one was appropriate for that game, but also which one felt better for me, right? And to know them all. It was never meant to be a phenomenal game. Look at this number here. Look at that, right? Little concerned about my hacker power not going up here. Did I break something? But yeah, that was my learn to finish a game and actually make it usable, as it were. Translate the mobile player base to Steam. Yeah, no, exactly. That's why, like, okay, I feel the experience for something like this is better on a desktop, tablet, those kind of things. It feels more Steam, itch.io kind of to me. I did a web build of this that you could play on the web browser, but it has some weird problems. There's something weird about publishing on Unity to the WebGL thing. I don't know. It gives me some problems. Maybe I've done something wrong, but I want to put it as many places as I can. I guess I just have a lot of ambition. This game has a long way to go, but this gives you, what you see here gives you an inkling of, great, this tools panel here, this is going to let me open up a whole lot of avenues for different things. Like I say, like this game, right? I mean, I've even thought about incorporating a little mini 3D game into this. I tell you what I was thinking. I'll share it with you. Do you remember like that really terrible sequence in the original Jurassic Park where they're at the computer and she's like, oh, this is a Linux system, I know this, and she's moving between the boxes? I was thinking of something like that for some kind of thing, like hacking nodes and connecting them or something. And so I want to take this beyond just this environment of numbers here. I want there to be actual like 3D, 2D, whatever type games in there that actually make sense in this environment for this game, and gives me an opportunity to stretch my legs and do those things without having to spin up a whole new game, right? In the game, I initially came to get some feedback on my WebGL build fails to track, and I only, oh, really? I noticed it when it was a bit too late. That's interesting. What mine does is, besides the fact that Unity doesn't always seem to load in the web, have you experienced that? Yeah, the mini games is a thing. This was my avenue to making this feel more like my intention of an OS, right? I'm a hacker, I got this, but this is my little hacking OS box. And that's where I wanted to take this. So thank you to you both for that. That you've checked the box as validation of what I was thinking. And I will look at, yeah, I'm going to look at off the stream. I'll look at yours here because WebGL from Unity has been a problem. One of the things I have with it is it works with loading in on the web. I'm not surprised there's an issue with the local game save. The way this game saves data, just so you all know, is I took the idea from this one. There's a game called, that I love, and I have been playing it for years. It's an true idle game called Idling to Rule the Gods. And what it does, it has a local save and then immediately does a remote save, right? So that at any time, if something's wrong, it's got the fallback. So I took that idea and incorporated it into this. But of course, when I do when you play the web version, things get weird with the local save, and that's the problem. It gets really janky, and I don't know why. But I've also had problems with some touchable elements in the web UI version. One guy play tested my game, and right-clicking those closes the app. Never had that. Tried it in like 3 browsers. I've not had that, but I have experienced painful memories here. If Coco Type's still in the chat room, he's going to remember this. I've experienced very random behavior with trying to close a desktop build of a Unity game. Sometimes, it was also Godot as well. Sometimes clicking the X or the red sphere, whatever, didn't always work. And so there are some weird janky things for sure. So I echo your experience of like, how does this happen to other people but not me? Yeah, I feel your pain, buddy. Feel your pain. All right. I have definitely bust something here, haven't I? Maybe I did something and it... I don't think it's this. I think what actually happened... Let me go back over here. I think that somehow what I had here has now completely bust this. Let me back that out for a second. Compiling. Me to endless hurdles. I wish I could quit you. That's it. That's it right there. Oh, the pain. Oh, drove me nuts. Absolutely drove me insane because I'm like, I can't make this thing do this that he's saying. Okay, look, boom. Okay. Now it's back and it's going to go nuts, right? Yeah. Okay. So it's definitely my calculation over here. Oh God, the pain of that thing. I'm gonna put that back in here. Let's run this again. Isn't that programming in general, Cover Type? Just endless hurdles we choose to jump. So it's funny you say that. That's kind of how it felt. And was a little bit of the underlying humor of that game was, yeah, creates my own hurdles. And then Coco Types saves them. Endless Hurdles that's where kind of where the name came from, was whatever you're doing, there's just endless hurdles. And so whilst you're actually jumping hurdles in the game, or now you jump trees and pumpkins and whatever, there was this kind of background dark humor to it just goes on. Yeah. You ain't a programmer, right? Thank you. Yeah. And all the folks in here, all of our developer friends that hang out on each other's streams here, like Notify, for example, will speak to this. And in our Discord is we literally have sessions of like, what was your pain this week? Real engineering manager. Yes. That is my day job, by the way. Not only am I a developer, but I'm an software engineering manager. So I have everybody else's pain. Oh, the pain never ends. Okay. Let's scale this number because you should... Okay, this is actually helpful. Hang on. I probably overscaled that number. I'm Notify and I'm a developer. It's been 2 minutes since my last rollback. Right. Oh yeah. Hi, Notify. Okay, this... Oh, good. Now let's watch this scale a little bit. See, this is the fun we have on all of each other's streams, hanging out in chat. So you're among friends here, Clown. Trust me. And on the Discord, we're all been there. You ask if he's around sometime, which he will be. When we do my normal late night streams, you definitely should ask Mono. There's a guy in there, Mono NZ. Ask him about how much he likes Xcode and SwiftUI. You'll never get out of that conversation. Shout out to you, Mono buddy. Yeah. Software Devs Anonymous. Yeah. He's exactly right. It's been 2 minutes since my last rollback. I've gone 7 days since my app compiled. I'm only compiling tears. Right? Okay, I'm gonna do that. And now I want to see what happens. I want to see how long it takes to get to 2. Right? Unless I get... Now this is where... See what I was saying about gameplay testing, and now it's like... I just need my random events to come back. I'm going to let this run here for a second. And I need some kind of drink. I need to hydrate. I'll be right back. All right. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Cybernode Yit, Cybernode YT, thank you for the follow. Cybernode YouTube. I think I'm getting close. Also, outstanding username. Well done. Yeah. Okay, and surprisingly, the bandwidth has been holding up really good today. So, been lucky so far, right? It's not going up from 1, folks, is it? All right. I've definitely broken my scaling. Let's... maybe I just got to rebalance now that I've rebalanced all the other things. Does that make sense? Probably not. $17. Okay. 18. This is so like a nightmare. I said this balancing would be a nightmare because I was about ready to scale the bosses up, and now I don't feel like I need to. But this still feels a lot better than the previous balance, so I'm going with it, even though I'm really barely on the scoreboard now. Basically, I want to make sure that you can't go nuts with the newbie hackers. That's the plan anyway. I've received 100 messages today with Restream chat. Thank you, chat. Appreciate you all. Appreciate you all putting up with me babbling. What can I say? I just love this stuff. What is that? Hold on. I'm just waiting for this to. There we go. Okay. Let me catch up here. Hang on. You're going to do more daytime streams in the future? It seems like my bandwidth is more stable, right? It's easier, definitely in the weekends. It's easier to do this time of day, but rarely is my day job finished by this time of day. So maybe at the weekends I'll switch over to a little more daytime streamy thing, but that the nighttime streams definitely won't go away. Yeah, see, yeah, actually it's dark for me now too. So you use a lot of dictionaries. Can't really do it with those, but raw values you use. Why not? So hold on. So you use a lot of dictionaries. I do, and I'll explain why. Um, so the reason I've used the dictionaries here is while that's ticking away, let's go back to one of these. I didn't have this stuff in dictionaries to begin with. But the reason that I changed it over, if we take like the boss list here, right, which is a dictionary, I did this way because it enabled me to have a tuple as a dictionary entry, right? So I've got all of my values that I need to generate my boss right here as one entry in the dictionary. Key value died very quickly for me. It's 2 a.m. for you and you're cooked. Yeah. So normally, for folks wondering, I'm here in Texas. It's 6 p.m. for me right now. I don't normally stream until at least like 10 p.m. So 4 hours from now. But today I thought, let's do it. I just feel the burn, and I'm so glad that I did to meet all you new folks in the chat. So I'm glad that I did. Yeah. Saying that about dictionaries in relation to my initial message for the inspector slider instead of having to exit play mode. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss a message here? I'm terrible at this. Where was it? Let me. I think you should invest in an inspector slider for this type of stuff. Yeah, I've only just I've also only just started getting into making my own tools in Unity, which would help me with a lot of this, right? So I'll give you an example. This, I can now generate one of these entries and automatically have it added to the file by a boss tool that I created, right? I just fill this in and it adds it to the list. So inspector slider, instead of having to exit play mode. Well, and maybe you can help me here, because it used to be that, yeah, I would just pop over to my player data object and I would have the list of values here to tweak and whilst playtesting and so on. But I don't have that now, because I think now that I have it essentially as a global, so that my player data is accessible in other screens like the mini games, I think I've broken my own UI in the editor for that. So help me. I'm not sure I completely understand what you're saying about the dictionaries in inspector slides. So elaborate if you want. Help me understand a bit better, because I sort of have broken my own inspection tools during game play mode. Does that make sense? Okay, got it. that makes so much sense. Yes. Okay, that actually really helps me understand it a lot more, because let me see if I can find one. Bet you I can't find one now, right? Yeah, okay, because they were all basic values. Now, what you say there makes a lot of sense. I wonder if I could build my own tool, though, that would do it. I have seen, I guess it depends what the definition of a complex structure would be in the inspector. Yeah, now that I think about it, I've only seen lists and nested lists. Oh, actually, I've seen dictionaries. Very simple ones, though. A good pattern I use when I have to work with static is to have a configurator type script that is a mono with raw values that access the static ones and put them into the editor values. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, something like what you're saying there, and having myself a mini dashboard would greatly help me understand a lot of this compared to tracking it here in the log. You may have sent me down a path that I need to think about. Yeah. Anything past float, string, lists, and arrays, dictionaries don't work. Yes. No, you're right. And that is exactly what I hit until it dawned on me. I should say, I normally, most of my time until lately has been a Swift developer, right? iOS is my main thing. Swift was my main thing for a long time, still is, but in the sense of day job and that. But obviously, I got to do C# here, as you see. And that's what got me to thinking about a tuple as a dictionary entry. Yeah, so the sim speed, I think that's still set up here. Hang on. Yeah, so I've got my tick interval right here, once a second. So I could go nuts, right? And change it here, but it's probably not even going to show it with these values. But yeah, I had it so that it would tick. I could change things like the game speed and stuff like that. Like my random event generator and all that kind of very accessible stuff. But this was early on, and I've now gone past. I think I've settled down the basic feature set that those were for, and so now I need more complex tools. Yeah, there's a guy who hasn't streamed a lot lately, who this guy NZ buddy, shout out to you if you're out there. He's on our Discord, who does a phenomenal job with creating these kind of things in Unity. He really, I know he hates it when I say it, but he is so good with Unity that I'm in awe of what he can do with it. And we collaborated on a couple of things. We had like a couple of community game that we built on our Discord, and he wrote out some tools and some things that were really good. And he's so much better at Unity than I am. You was a project manager for Unity games and apps for 3 years. You're totally not a C# Unity main, though the nice tool set and workarounds. Yeah, no, Swift is my big deal, and I'm just holding my own on the C# for Unity. I wish Swift was in Unity, and then if you add into the mixed, like Endless Hurdles, that's currently built in Godot, so it's using GD script, which took me a long time to get my head around. I keep putting myself through all these different pains, I know, but I've settled to the point like, okay, because I created this code for this game, I've created my own nightmare, and at least I understand my own nightmare, as long as I don't not look at it for 6 months. I think we've all done that, right? I did leave this for a while, came back after 6 months and was like, oh shit, what did I do this for? What the hell? Why would I write crap like this? Yeah. Meant to be worked with singletons and mono to really avoid the pains you talk about. Interesting you say that, because when I was going to say way back, but I don't know what that means anymore. I got into a habit of singletons and whatnot in Unity, and people kept telling me to get out of, like, stop doing that. But it just made so much sense to me. So for example, my player data in this game is a singleton. It's got a do not destroy. I've write convenience functions, setters and getters and whatnot. It's available where I need it. It makes the game state management easy. It makes the loading and saving of data easier, and things like that. So I don't disagree with you. However, I think I did it badly in mobile apps, like with Swift and stuff. Yeah. If you have good architecture, it's totally fine. I don't know that I've ever had good architecture in my games. But I used them for the longest time, and I still have some now, but it was one of those like early on things that was like, okay, this worked. Don't ask any, when you got like that, okay, Peter, your code worked, leave it alone. Don't ask questions. Right. So yeah, I normally have, like, in this and in Endless Hurdles and that, I have a game manager, which is, so I'll have like my game manager, which oversees my player data manager, my sound manager, and all of those kind of things. I try to structure it that way so that they're always accessible. And I actually found that easier to do in Godot with GD script than I did here in Unity with C#. But then it was kind of one of those, learned how to do it with Godot, took that methodology back here into Unity. Does that make sense? And of course, with Unreal Engine, I've never done anything but blueprints, to be clear. I don't want to be writing C++. I've never done anything but blueprints, and that just works for me, and that's fine. Right. But I think you get that a lot of this comes from spending so many years working with Swift at this point, and stuff like that. I originally started out as a web developer, just so you know, so that those painful years of early JavaScript, early HTML and CSS, I kind of lived the pain. Yeah. I guess it depends on what you want and the team size. It is true singletons are danger zones, especially for commits, when you can get into a loop where you got to fix merge errors since everyone is forced. Yeah, thankfully, for me, it's only myself on this, which means I have a lot of bad practices for sure, but I don't have those problems. And I say that too because it is important for me in the sense of, when I'm working on this game, I work on it on a Mac like I'm doing now, sometimes Windows for compiling the Windows version and so on, but primarily Mac and a Linux install. So I heavily rely on my Git repo to keep me sane. Right? I really feel like this is... Yeah, this is weird. Weird in the sense of I'm not getting why I'm having to tweak this so hard. Maybe I need to reset my player data. I've been talking way too much, but that's why I love doing this on live streams, because I learn so much from you folks that are so much smarter than I am in the chat room. Game development is not my thing. Meaning, like, I've never, app development is my thing. Game development is my passion. So I have lots of bad habits, bad practices. Okay, let me start this over. I'm going to clear my game data here. Clear my cloud, and let's just recheck my sanity. I keep forgetting that sometimes what you got to do is go back and check your sanity, right? Clear out your old game data and make sure that's not influencing what I'm doing here. That should be me. Boom. There we go. What did I see here? Did someone say I've been talking too much? Oh no, did he do a 3-minute redeem? I have a redeem, folks, on this channel where you can ban me for talking for 3 minutes. Yeah. You know how to fix that. Did you do it? Did you redeem it? I didn't see it. In my opinion, dev encoding is a hammer. Your app is the sword. Hammer the tip first on the base. It is just style ultimately, because in the end you're just trying. You didn't. Oh, thank you, Coco Type. Bless you. Yet. He will. Ultimately, because in the end you're just trying to cut some bread. So my philosophy that is my opinion. Let me be clear. Everything I say on this channel is my opinion. But I share the same philosophy. Sorry, folks. I gotta respect it. You're gonna have to wait for my philosophy for 3 minutes. Oh my God, that was a long 3 minutes. Don't you listen to that Coco type. What? Don't you let him distract you. You talk away. I do until he stops me. Okay, so I think what I was gonna say was my philosophy and the developers that work for me know that my philosophy on this too is making the product and shipping the product, whatever that is the goal at the end of the day for me, for what I do, and for the people that work for me and do what they do. That's the goal, right? Secondary goal is, of course, yeah, do it in as nice a way as you can, code wise and so on, so that other folks can understand it and so on. But ultimately, end users don't give a shit what your code looks like, right? It's as simple as that. That's my philosophy on it. Yeah, Notify, thank you, buddy. Have a great time, my friend. I got to eat something in about 30 minutes myself. Notify, tell the world though, when are you streaming next? He's like, I'm never going to stream again. Product first is the way to go. Otherwise, we get bogged down in the science of it. Yeah, absolutely. What I normally do, like the last couple of months, where we're at now of the year, is okay, let's do some engineering tasks and make life, let's really focus on that because we're not going to ship and break things before the end of the year. So that. Can discuss when the project is over to see what to do in the future based on what you saw went wrong. I absolutely agree. Yeah, right? Ship it. If your goal is to make something for yourself, okay, do whatever. If your goal is to make something for somebody else or they're paying you to do it, shipping it is the thing. Now, there's a lot of gray area around that. Coco Type and I had many a conversation on my Compile Swift podcast, which was then our Compile Swift podcast, which was really great because we had great differing opinions on a lot of these things, which made it great conversation. Sometimes he was right. So I'm gonna get banned again for 3 minutes. I know it. Yeah. Okay, this is good, but feels a bit slow, right? I may have broken the calculations here in all my bantering on my banter, my chatterings. I may have broken something, but either way, balance is still good. However, what I don't like now is because I've made the time in between the events so long, I just keep seeing this saving game data all the time. So what I'm actually going to do, let's go back to well, I was setting it on the interface. I should keep doing that. Let me change this back here. Hang on. Oh, Peter, stop the game before you do that. I'm going to change this back to let's go with 50 seconds in between each random event because I feel like we're getting hurt that there's not enough of them now. Where am I at? Am I going to pronounce this right? Hello, Yeknos. Did I get that right? I think you're making a hacking simulator. Yeah, it's kind of what it is. Yeah, in many ways. Um, and you ultimately, the goal is to have you be able to hack other players and go at it. It's like a PvP hacker. um, yeah, thank you. Business side is also hell. Oh my god, is it? If you never want to deal with the business side or as little as possible, never become a software engineering manager. Trust me on this. Oh boy. Recently got laid off, a web dev job. Forget this, doing my job too well and making myself irrelevant. So there is a case for bad code also. I'm laughing because we all know how that feels, and you're absolutely right. Let alone the discussion about AI. But yeah, there is something to be said for having like bugs and stuff, right? um, I inadvertently have pushed myself away from the code in my job because I became an engineering manager. And now I get to spend very little time writing code, but I also do the bit that I love, which is why I took it, which is preventing developers from having to deal with the annoying shit that gets in the way of doing the thing that you're supposed to do, right? So on the one hand, I hate that I don't get to code so much, but I love that I get to protect developers and their valuable time and concentration. Yeknos, thank you. I appreciate that. That is very kind of you. I am working hard to try and make this cool. So thank you. Yeah. They did an audit and it was so easily maintainable I was no longer needed. Oh, that sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. I made my own IDE for Python. Just wanted to say completely unrelated, but it's cool. No, that is cool. I'm interested about this. So, you built your own tools to do the work. That I think is awesome and very interesting. So kudos. And I will, I hope and feel like I'm getting close to a point where I might make games. I suck terribly, as everyone will tell you. The regulars will tell you at doing coding during live streams. But my main goal with the live streams really is firstly to show everybody that if this idiot here can do this, you can do it too. But the second thing is the community aspect of get to talk with folks like yourselves. So I always say this, but it's true. It's all of you that make this work, not me, right? It's all of you that make these streams cool. Yeah, I think my bandwidth is starting to go up and down. Yeah, Unity acts up quite a lot of times for me. But no, I think we're getting later into the evening. My bandwidth is starting to get a little flaky, as I can see on the numbers here. So we may be reaching the end of this here. I got to go eat soon anyway. And I didn't realize, but I've been streaming for like, what, 2 hours, 40 minutes? Why do you people put up with me? I'm so glad that you do. But I'm honest to God, truth. I do this and I love it when folks come by the chat room and we can talk about these things because I learn so much more from all of you. Like I have a list of games to go and play now. So thank you everybody for destroying my productivity, both in a bad way, but in an awesome way. So that too. But I love when talking to developers of any tools, anything at all. I don't care what you're working on. I'm excited by it, and I love talking about it. So does all the regulars that hang out in these streams, and other folks. Look on my page for other streams that I recommend. We all hang out in each other's streams. It's a great community we have, and on the Discord, it's like this all the time on the Discord. So thank you to all of you for making it worthwhile. Well, thank you, Clown. I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah. What do I think of Godot? I really like it. I use Godot for my Endless Hurdles game, and I really, really like it. I like that it taught me. So I like, for example, GD script, right? Base, if you think about GD script and you think about how it's like Ruby and all of that stuff, um, never really had to mess with it. So it's great that it taught me a different style of coding and a different way of doing things. And I just generally like the Godot tool. I will be doing more with that. Endless Hurdles game is done in that, ships on Android and iOS. And I'm glad that I did it in that. I'm glad that I did this one in Unity. And I do want to do a 3D game in Unreal because I think it's just fun to play with all these tools, right? I mentioned it earlier on the stream. I love rebuilding the same thing in different engines to really figure out the benefit of each one and just to learn, like, great, I know how to do that if I need to. But GD script really had me thinking in a different way, and I really enjoy it. Even just using, like, I know some folks use an external editor for editing scripts with Godot. I don't. I use the built-in GD script editor. I get that some folks say it's a bit annoying, it's a bit simple. I love that it's teaching me the language, first class citizen, as I'm doing it, rather than like I use the Z editor a lot for things, but with languages that I know. Okay. And GD script is a great one to learn just by doing it in the engine. Yeah. Try Unity with HDRP. It's completely different. Yeah, interesting you say that. I've not done that, and I have wondered about that. So part of what we do here on these streams with me is we will do things like that and look at things that we don't normally do. For example, I had never written Rust. Always curious. One day someone challenged me and were like, you know what? We did a stream where I went from nothing to writing a very simple CLI tool with Rust. It was fantastic. I had such respect for Rust by the end of that stream. So yeah, we always dive into different things. What do you think about Pygame, that one framework for Python? I have never used it. I've been curious about it. I know folks that say a lot of good things about it. I can't really say any more than that. Maybe I should try it one day. Like I say, the Endless Hurdles game, I built it in many different game engines. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should try Pygame and build it out. It's a very simple game, which makes it perfect for doing in different things. Because I also have like, well, this is what it does. Go build that. So maybe I'll look at Pygame on a stream. That might be an interesting suggestion there. Thank you. Appreciate that. But other than that, yeah, I can't comment on it too much. Do you have thoughts on it? What do you think? Okay, something happened that I've suddenly... It must be these two up here that tripped me into the trillions. See? Game balance. Right? I'm going to have to figure this math out, but I've definitely got significantly better control of the balance in this game. The best way I would say it's an easier SDL2 for Python. Easier thing for Python. I'll try it then. I'll try it. I've never, yeah, like I say, I've never really done Python either, but I feel like I could at this point. So maybe I'll give that a go. Yeah. It's always good because you never know what you may need to work on tomorrow, right? Or the way an industry goes. So that's why I like to, whilst mobile is my thing during the day, that's why I like to mess around with stuff in the evenings. Yeah. Okay, how did I break my math here? It's got to be these, right? It's got to be those. Let me just check. Let me run this again. Or I've got an errant number that's gone nuts somewhere. No, I got a number. Yeah, okay. I got a issue there. Uh, no, well, it's not that I've never tried Python. Python is something that I've done a very small amount of because I needed to, and I did just enough to achieve what I needed to. Uh, yeah, it was a little more than that, but I've never done a lot of development in Python. Let me put it that way, and maybe we need to fix that. Certainly, GD script had me heading in the right direction, and that's why I feel like, oh, I reckon I could do this, you know. So I will go back to it now, and I'm trying to think what app I used to. Yeah, no, I've never really done a lot of Python. But I've been interested in it lately from the data analysis perspective too. Yeah, yeah. That I will say it seems a lot easier than C++. C sharp. Um, I'm used to C sharp because of this, and because I did .NET many years ago. But C++ is not something I want to mess with. But you win me over by saying Python is better, and I believe, not better, sorry, easier to learn, and I'm with you on that. Especially being on a Mac and Linux, it's a lot easier to deal with the package management and stuff too. Okay, challenge accepted. We'll see what we can do with Pygame. Yeah, like that. That's a future stream right there. Thank you. All right, I think I'm gonna have to stop here so that I can go eat. We're getting close to the 3 hour mark. It's days like this where I hate to stop, but I feel like I should at this point. I'm not going to stream later tonight because I'm doing this now. However, I think I will do a stream, try and do a stream. For me, it comes down to the simple fact of whether Spectrum Internet is going to cooperate on the bandwidth, which is always a nightmare. But normally I try to do a stream Sunday night, my time. So I'll give you an example. It's 6:45 p.m. for me here in central US. I normally would stream about 10 p.m. So like 3 and a bit hours from now on a Sunday night. Just so you know, I don't have it up on my Twitch schedule because it's hard to keep that some days because of the bandwidth problems. I love Pygame, awesome. For Python, I would recommend Visual Studio Code, not Visual Studio. Oh, that's interesting because immediately I thought of the JetBrains tools, and I use the Z editor, but I do have Visual Studio Code, because I used to use that a lot. So that's actually set up, ready to go. So that's good to hear. Yeah. I also should bugger off. Hey, to all of you folks in the chat room, thank you so much for making this such a fascinating stream with the chat room. I look forward to talking to you all next time. Greatly appreciate you all. You know where to find me on the Discord as well, where we do all of this when none of us are online on streams. You're awesome, and I've got a list of games to satisfy me for the rest of the evening instead of watching television. I'm going to go check out those games. Shenzon, here I come. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Be cool. See you in the next one.